The city of Bourges, in the center of France, is famous for its UNESCO-listed cathedral and its medieval city center. But the capital of the Berry region has another historic asset: its marshes. A barely known microcosm, a few minutes from the city center, which the people of Bourges have enthusiastically maintained for more than a century.
This is an island. There's only one way to get here. No, two. By boat or swimming.
This vegetable gardener lives in an apartment in town. He decided to buy this plot on retiring, but didn't know much about growing vegetables.
It was to keep me occupied. I was looking for a hobby after working non-stop for 50 years in quite an intense job because I was a salesman in the pharmaceuticals industry.
Since then, he has developed a passion for his vegetable garden, where he grows onions, radishes, carrots, and lettuces. A small corner of paradise, the marshes are attracting more and more city dwellers looking for peace and quiet. And now they can't leave the place. They love living in this farmyard where the animals are free to roam. Solange likes playing the farmer's wife, even though her hens are constantly playing tricks on her. She finds dozens of eggs hidden all over her plot and hands them out to her neighbors.
Why do you do that?
Because I like to. I'm not a seller, I'm a giver.
And her husband gives his lettuces away. A retired railway man, he has a vegetable garden just opposite. Over time, the marshes have become a second home to them.
In the summer, we sleep here for at least 2 months. It's the fresh air. I can't really explain it, but once it's in your blood and you feel good, you can't get enough of the place, so you come every day.
A handful of youngsters also frequent the marshes in the hope of implementing new gardening methods. This couple arrived 3 years ago, aiming to plant a vegetable garden according to permaculture principles. This strange tool is a broad fork. It turns the topsoil without harming earthworms and other microorganisms that live there. Next, the rest of the work is up to them.
I just leave them to grow. No watering, no weeding, no upkeep.
No fertilizer?
Absolutely not.
Just love.
Love, and a few principles all the same. He intelligently mixes varieties of vegetables, flowers, and fruit.
So here I planted butternut squash under the vine. It'll look pretty with their flowers, which I hope will also attract greenfly, so that they stay away from my tomatoes.
While the vegetable gardens are the pride of the marsh dwellers, the pollution in the canals is damaging the wetland. Since the 2000s, a variety of creeping water primrose has invaded the watercourses. Imported from Brazil and sold in gardening stores, it's threatening native aquatic plants and blocking the ditches.
It's really invasive. We have to uproot it every year and urge the vegetable gardeners to keep unblocking their ditches because it grows very fast. In August, in 2 weeks, it doubles in surface area. But you mustn't sickle it. Even when you uproot it, we have to use inflatable barrages to stop even a little bit floating off and taking root elsewhere.
Further on, the river that feeds the marshes brings in waste, which is kept out by this floating barrage. A small fixture obtained after a long fight by the Vegetable Gardeners Association.
We found a small TV, the inside of a washing machine, among other varieties of waste.
So you're not just worried about the visible parts?
Exactly. What we can't see as well, and what the analyses in 2010 told us. The National Water Management Office took samples from here and found excesses of lead and nickel. That doesn't mean it's all over the marshes, but they found it in the silt here where the river water arrives.
To protect this ecosystem, France Camusat has requested the building of new settling ponds upstream and more frequent testing. But there's another threat to the marshes: abandoned plots. Some of them have lain fallow for more than 50 years. In the long term, the marshes could even disappear if younger generations don't become more committed to preserving this fragile ecosystem.